Always, episode 4. We're here to talk about child protections, Department of Children and Family Services. This is um this is something that inspired me. I'm really focused, not right now, but I want to be I want to adopt a child or children in the near future. It's something that I've always been interested in, from someone who has had experience seeing, certain family members in, adoption centers and things like that. I've always was inspired to be someone that could be a benefit, a positive factor in that. Whether it's me putting attention to it, educating people, showing light, or adopting a child or children. It's nothing easy, of course, to go through that process, but if you're dedicated and you for whatever situation it may be can have a child, this is a good way to go about getting a child or children. I want to start with the facts. This is but first, child protection hotline 8 800 540 4000. That is 800 540 4000. Some facts. I just want to say all children have the right to grow up in a safe environment. The general facts. Frequently asked questions. What is child abuse? Child abuse is repeated mistreatment or neglect of a child by parent or parents or other guardian, resulting in injury or harm. Under California law, child abuse is a crime. Child needs protection because they are vulnerable and often unable to speak for themselves. Here's what a few physical, you know, sh- shows or ways of abuse is: shaking, beating, or burning, failure to provide necessities of life such as adequate food, clothing, shelter, or medical care, a child being subjected to willful cruelty or unjustified punishment, physical abuse or neglect. More than just that, to piggyback on the beating, I've seen it in my house. I dealt with it. I've seen, friends, whether it's, discolorment on their bodies, purple, blue, black. It was it's always hurtful to experience and hurtful to see and to know it's happening to not only someone that you care about, but it's happening to children all over the world. And it's my job, it's my duty to be at least share this type of information because people don't know. People haven't either experienced it, know someone who's experienced it, or they just overall don't know. And it's necessary to know what abuse is. Emotional abuse, excessive yelling, belittling, or name calling, exposure to ongoing domestic violence between parents or caregivers. This one, I was subjected to this since I was about 7 to 17. Yeah, from 7 to 17. I I used to let it bother me, as a kid. Calling someone a name is never nice, definitely to a kid. You know, I used to cry. I used to just, you know, no, no, I'm not that. I'm not that. As I got older, as I was able to learn a bit by myself, even when it was called my way, so what? Like, you're just name calling at this point. You're just a little bully. You're just a little kid yourself, you know? If anyone, and this is period, if you have to name call someone, like, what are you doing? Like, honestly. And to name call a kid stupid, dumb, retarded, you look and are playing that role of those names that you just called that kid. Imagine being an adult, a grown person, calling a kid dumb or retarded or useless. Like, that's who would do something like that? Only people who are trying to be, or someone that, projecting your insecurities or projecting who you truly are onto a kid. It's not nice. It's not healthy, you know. And thankfully, I was aware enough of myself to not fall in line to repeated behavior of calling my cousins or any other child that I'm around or have to take care of those type of names. I'm aware and I know better and I do better. Sexual abuse or neglect, incest, disgusting, rape, disgusting, inhumane, all of that. Any other sexual act on a child, disgusting, you're inhumane, you're the scum of the earth to ever any of these, by the way. But anything sexual, kids are vulnerable. Kids don't know, they don't know better, they don't know nothing, they don't know that they're being targeted like that. They don't know that is wrong in the worst way possible. Sexual exploitation, treatment of a child as a sexual object involved in pornography or solicitation for sexual acts in exchange for benefits, money, clothing, or other goods. Disgusting. You scum of the earth. Don't. That's just it's so disgusting, frustrating to even to even be a thing in this world. Disgusting. You're scum of the earth. Neglect, failure to provide necessities of life such as adequate food, clothing, shelter, or medical or mental health care. Unsanitary or hazardous living environment, failure to provide appropriate supervision. Not being there, not being present. You can't just be there as a parent, you cannot just be there physically. Cool, you could be there, but you have to be there emotionally. You know, you have to be there emotionally. You're the one that's supposed to train, lead, teach, provide, not just food and a lesson. You're supposed to provide love, care as a parent, mother or father. I was unfortunately I was raised into a single parent household and I had to deal with someone who didn't know how to communicate, didn't know how to provide emotional well-being or provide emotional, care. That person didn't know how to do that, or they did and didn't want to. But I do not and did not let that tarnish who I am when it comes to children or taking care of a child or children. I just didn't. And I hope if you was unfortunate to have to go through single parent households and it wasn't good, I hope and pray that doesn't tarnish and, you know, ruin who you are as a person, how you are going to be as a parent, you know? And last but not least, caretaker absence and incapacity, the inability or unwillingness of a parent or caregiver to provide ongoing care. See, being a parent isn't being a parent is not easy, of course. Being a parent is you're Superman, Clark Kent, you're everything. That's what a parent pretty much is. You're pretty much everything to this kid or children. You have to be that. You have to be Superman, Superwoman. You have to be teacher. You have to be, you know, friend. You have to be everything. You can't just be one thing and you just can't be a parent whenever you want to be. You can't do that, you know? Children weren't Children didn't ask to be brought into this world. It is up to the parents, our job. It is our job to lead, to train, and be for our children, to be for our kid 24/7. Definitely in a world like this, where it's dangerous, it's a cold world we live in. It is our job to make sure we are training and we're putting our kids in the best possible environment, not just physical environment, not just having a good bed, a good house, but an emotional environment where kids can be open, be vulnerable, come to you and share how they're feeling. You know, I was in a house where there was no such a thing like that. I couldn't speak how I felt. I was dealing with someone who didn't even know themselves, you know, but I made Joe. I made do with what I had and who I had in my life. You know, I made a decision to stop this train from going on this collision course. I know myself. I evaluated myself and I said, I'm going to do better. I'm going to go on my own track, the right track, the best track, and do what's necessary and do what's best for myself and family. That's my decision. You know, there's oh, physical, emotional, sexual, sexual exploitation, neglect, and caregiver absence and incapacity. Those are a few ways of child abuse. You may wonder what is the difference between discipline and abuse, right? Discipline is when parents and caregivers find constructive ways to help children correct and improve their behavior. Now, I've seen it in terms of discipline, the belt, getting the belt, getting a stick, not a stick, but like a switch, get the little things off. I dealt with it. Um, I dealt with it in a healthy manner, and I had to deal with it in an unhealthy manner by someone who was unhealthy. But when I dealt with it in a healthy manner, it wasn't um it wasn't abuse. It wasn't, trying to hurt me. It was, don't do that. That's not good. You know better, you know. Constructive ways. Whether it's writing, kind of like in school, elementary school, rewriting a sentence 1,000 times, not 1,000, but 100 times or whatever. Now they know, now they really know not to do this. Once you start writing, I cannot do this, that will be something that is in your brain. You know, there's plenty of ways. Take away the electronics. Now you know how it feels to not have what you think is fun. Take away the video game. Not only just taking away something, punishment, time out, and in that timeout, talk to them, communicate why this was incorrect behavior, communicate why you cannot do this out in public, you cannot do this at home, you cannot do this at school, you cannot do this at the store, you cannot do this at the bank, you cannot do this at a restaurant, you cannot do this at home. Abuse is when parents or caregivers express their neglect or their negative feelings in either a physically or an emotional harmful manner. You know, I was dealing with someone who didn't, a parent who didn't know themselves, that didn't know control, that didn't know how to keep their hands on themselves, and they would just take it all on either me or whoever they're with. Their deal with it. But I, growing up or as a kid, I didn't have an option to deal with it or not. I had to deal with it, you know. But as I got to grow up, being the man who I am today, I don't have to take that. I don't. You don't have to take that. You don't have to. You know, if your relationship with your parents is great, God bless you. But it takes two to tango. It takes two to communicate. Whether I'm writing a letter and then you write it back, or voice notes, or call, or face to face, FaceTime. It takes two to communicate. It takes two to have a conversation. I can't just say something to you and have a conversation without you saying something back. You know, communication is key to any relationship, romantic relationship, kid to parent relationship, manager to worker, teacher to student. It takes two to communicate. It takes two to tango. Safe and effective discipline is a correction given out of love. Given out of love. I love you to correct your incorrect manners, to correct your incorrect di- um mannerisms, your ways, because as a parent, you being my child, if you was to do that somewhere else, you could be more hurt. You could end up hurt, dead, injured. However, I choose to discipline you, whether it be a paddle, tap on the wrist, you know, whatever it may case may be, it's because I love you. I want you to learn why that is incorrect. Whether I have you write a sentence 100 times, whether I take away this, I am going to discipline you, but I'm going to communicate why this is wrong, why you cannot do that, to do this, and we'll move forward. I want my kid to understand why this cannot be done, why this is not healthy, why you doing this is not only detrimental to you, but is detrimental and harmful to people around you. Safe and effective discipline is a correction out of love, given out of love. When parents and caregivers explore ways to correct a child's behavior, they need to ask themselves, is the discipline related to the offense, administrated calmly and not in a hateful or angry way? Fair when considering the child and the offense, occasional and for a brief amount of time, free from physical, verbal, sexual, and emotional abuse. If, if my kid drops, paint all over the floor, goodness, I can't be mad at this kid. You know why I can't be mad at my kid? I shouldn't have had that paint out in the open like that, you know? Now, if the kid gets a hold of the paint and then on himself, does it by himself and chooses to mess up something, that's different. Because you did that knowing we went out their way to get that paint, and that can be messy. But if I leave a paint, jar of paint and it's open exposed and you tip it, or you think it's a toy or a game, you put your hand in it. Now, hey, look, I'm touch. That's on me. That's on me, not on you. Because you don't know. You're a kid. You're 2 years old, 3 years old, 5 years old. Play is on your mind. You know? Administrate it calmly and not in a hateful or angry way. Just how I'm talking right now. Talk to my child. This is not correct. This is not right. I'm sorry for putting you in a position of doing what you just did. That was on me. I left that paint out. I left that juice bottle out exposed with no top on it, and you tipped it. I'm sorry. You tipped it and the juice is all over the place. That's on me. Fair when considering the child and their offense. You're 3 years old. I don't need to be getting my belt. I don't need to be hitting you, punishing you in any type of ways to hurting you. And I'm just speaking in general. I seen that, you know, from people who hate in their heart, people with hate in their heart, anger in their souls, you know, free from physical, verbal, sexual, and emotional abuse. No, in any way, shape, or form at all, period, should sexual anything be a form of discipline to a child. None whatsoever. That's just the worst of the worst. Verbal and physical, no, that should not happen. But when it turns in sexual, anything sexual, no, ever. That's the worst of the worst. Now, physical and verbal, you don't need to put your hands on a 5-year old for them to learn something. You don't need to call them and belittle them every chance you get to show that they're wrong. No, it's unnecessary. You're going out of your way to harm your child thinking you're disciplining them, but you're not, which is going to lead to long term resentment from your child, long term or potentially long term trauma from your child. It doesn't take much. And I understand, definitely as a young parent, when you're going through this, you're a single parent and you're young as well, it's hard, it's frustrating, you're working, things like that. Still not excusable. You know, I have a 45-year-old parent that still doesn't know how to communicate, that thinks is my way or the highway. You look like a fool, you know? But I have the opportunity to not. I'm not just trying to be a parent, you know? I'm trying to be someone who can put you in the position to succeed. Information, lessons, knowledge. This is what I did. This is what I did wrong. This is what it took for me to get better. This is how much time it took. I'm not saying do what I did, but just know sometimes it's not going to be easy as you think it is. It's going to take time to be better than who you are today. It's going to take discipline. It's going to take time. It's going to take putting in the work, a strong work ethic, love, ambition. You know, I can teach you, I can give you information, but like Shaq, I can someone can teach him the fundamentals of shooting a basketball. You can't teach that height, that athleticism. You can't teach the love, the passion. All of that is God given and self given. I can't teach you to love to play basketball. I can teach you the right way to play basketball, but what's the point of doing something if you're not loving it? You know? I want and I will love to be a parent because I'm gonna love my children, you know? My child, my boy, my girl, whatever I'm given from God, blessed with, you know? Children were not born off of their own merit. They didn't ask to be here. We weren't asked to be here, you know? We didn't talk to God, or we didn't say, you know what, I want to be born on June 29th and I want to have curly hair, I want to be mixed. No, this wasn't Skyrim. This wasn't a video game. It has life has video game elements, you know, but we didn't design our own character. No. This was this this has been good. I hope I was able to teach you something. I'm definitely gonna have more episodes of this. This was just something that I found out on the merit of uh wanting to be a parent. You know, wanting to get someone out of foster home to adopt. That's how I was able to find this. You know, Los Angeles County Departments of Children and Family Services. Once again, the Child Protection Hotline is 800-540-4000. That is 800-540-4000. I love you all. I hope you was able to get some information from this. And even if you already got this information, please share this to someone else. Share this information because we need information. We need this type of information, the facts. You know, once again, I love all of y'all. I can't wait to see y'all again. I'm gonna post this on YouTube, Instagram, all of this, and not just here. See y'all later.